Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
It's 8 p.m. live this Thursday evening, March 20th, 2025. I'm Rich Mancuso on my YouTube channel. Let's keep it in the ring. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also on String Punk Entertainment as well. Like my Facebook page at Keep It in the Ring. And the next hour, we're going to bring that up preview to you. And, of course, my social media handles at the bottom of the screen. Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Also, get me on X, Ring786, Instagram, and read my content, latinosports.com, String Punk Entertainment. Scott Churston, head of String Punk Entertainment, will be joining me tonight. He's handling the controls. We'll get the fact of the week with him. Tommy D not with us tonight, had a death in the family. Our condolences to my great colleague and friend, Tommy D. We're all with you on our wishes, Tommy. Be well. Back here next week with you will be Tommy D. And so in the hour ahead here at Keep It in the Ring with the boxing schedule also scrolled at the bottom of your screen. Edgar Berlanga in Matchroom. Is there a future for him after his latest win? Gervonta Davis looking at Lomachenko or Shakur Stevenson in that lightweight division that's very competitive. Faction Fundora, the Towering Inferno, returns to the ring this Saturday night along with George Gambosa Jr., who has a very important fight that Saturday also on the Zone. Fundora also on Prime Video. In the wrestling segment, we'll go over John Cena the heel. More about that. The Rebel Rant and Robbie Rebel returns this week. He'll join us. We'll have the nostalgia and much more for this week's edition of Keep It in the Ring, live here on my YouTube channel with Rich Mancuso. We begin, though, this week with Edgar Berlanga, 23-1, 18 knockouts. The first round knockout, very impressive over the previously undefeated Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz in Orlando on the Zone this past Saturday. Ortiz went down twice. 2:31 of the first round. It was quick. It was over. Berlanga looked like Edgar Berlanga of the past. His knockout after starting his career with 16 straight knockouts. After 12 rounds, also with Canelo Alvarez, which gave him the headlines and the spotlight, no one thought Edgar Berlanga at 168 would go the distance with Canelo last year. Let's take a look at that impressive first round knockout from Edgar Berlanga. There you go. Had a great right. This guy, Gonzalez, not rated at all. 2 fights in the last year. Prior to that, no fights in 10 years. So, as they say in the boxing industry, perhaps this Puerto Rican fighter was a tomato can. Now, no fighter to me is a tomato can. However, Edgar Berlanga deserved better than this. He's been regulated to a co-main eventer in the Matchroom. This was not a 12-round fight. This was a 10-rounder. So what's wrong with this picture with Edgar Berlanga? He said he's a free agent now after his multi-fight deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. And perhaps Eddie Hearn did this purposely. Now, if he wants to keep Edgar Berlanga, Eddie Hearn is going to, of course, give Berlanga a main event status. I don't sense, and I'm sure you do, my friends, that Edgar Berlanga was very happy about being deregulated to a 10-round co-main event on this card down in Orlando this past Saturday. But then again, my friends, as I have said before, Edgar Berlanga went for the money, as most fighters do, to get main event status and climb even further up the ladder. Edgar Berlanga got that fight with Matchroom to get Canelo Alvarez, and he did, as part of that multi-fight deal. But he should have never left Top Rank and Bob Arum, the Hall of Fame promoter. Berlanga said he had to do this move, and he did. Eddie Hearn said it wasn't an ideal situation, but when you're on that level, you fight at that level. He's referring more to Gonzalez more than Berlanga. Eddie Hearn said he wants to re-sign Berlanga and hopes the relationship with him in the super middleweight will extend. But can it be extended after Berlanga was deregulated to a semi-main event 10-rounder? So Edgar Berlanga has his options. He's left left hook also Saturday was good. With Canelo Alvarez, of course, he showed he belonged with him in this past September in a fight that went the distance. Berlanga said he wants the following guys next. Now, whether he's with Matchroom Boxing or not, and Eddie Hearn remains to be determined. Said he wants Jaime Munguia. He wants Jamal Charlo or Khalid Plant. And the division also with young star Diego Pacheco, who might eventually get a shot against Canelo Alvarez, maybe not this year, early next. But the free agent to be, and that he is, wants Canelo Alvarez again. Maybe with Matchroom Boxing that happens, maybe not. The point of this, my friends, is Edgar Berlanga is still going to be a force in the 168-pound division. The title's held by Canelo Alvarez, most of them except the IBF. He gets William Skull next in May to get that title back. It's Eddie Hearn who has to make this decision, but more so, it's in the hands of Edgar Berlanga. And you're speaking about Eddie Hearn. Here he is, and he's talking as he always does. He says talks are ongoing with Callum Smith opposing either David Benavidez at 175 or David Morrell, which would be good. He said he's willing to work with the Turk guy and Dana White, the new boxing league that Dana White and the Turk guy have put together with the Ring Magazine belt. And then he said this, starting the revelation the past few days, Eddie Hearn said he's possibly going to sell Matchroom Boxing and go on to something else. Now, I don't know if I could believe that or not. I don't know if you could believe that or not. Eddie Hearn has made a lot of money as an esteemed, good promoter of Matchroom Boxing. And he's got a great stable of fighters with him. That could just be talk. Maybe he's tired. But it is out there that Eddie Hearn is saying he's possibly looking at selling Matchroom Boxing to someone else. Or does Eddie Hearn, is he looking to maybe combine more forces with the Turk guy and Dana White with their new boxing league and the Ring Magazine? Stay tuned for this. We haven't heard much more than that, what Eddie Hearn said, whether he's serious or not, about selling Matchroom Boxing. Hey, you got the money? Why don't you bid in for it if he does that? And then he says Anthony Joshua, the former heavyweight champ, and Daniel Dubois, the IBF champ. That's a heavyweight title fight that will happen. Dubois, of course, the IBF champ, might have his eyes on someone else. Anthony Joshua might be waiting for one heavyweight who said he's retired, but possibly not. He's going to come out of retirement. We know that. And that being Tyson Fury. Well, you know, the Turk guy and Dana White have changed the complexion of boxing in the past few weeks with their new boxing league. The structure will have the Ring Magazine belt. And they say they are not going to interfere with the various boxing organizations and titles, and that it'll be totally different, that it'll just be the Ring Magazine belt. The sanctioning organizations will still exist, their ratings will still exist, and so forth. But the Ring and Eddie Hearn and the Turk guy are saying that they're going to have their own type of divisions. And they have also announced how they're going to put out the purses for their fights. And it goes like this: $20,000 for a 10-round bout from an unranked fighter, $50,000 for a ranked fighter by the company, that being the Ring and Turk guy and Eddie Hearn, and rounds that would be for the first 5 to 10 rated fighters. $125,000 for ranked fighters, ranked 3rd or 4th, and $375,000 for one challenging for a title. And that would be $750,000 defending the Ring title that they have with their new boxing league. What are your thoughts on that, my friends? The complexion of boxing has changed with this new boxing league that'll debut at some point next year, as they say, Eddie Hearn, the Turk guy, and the Ring. On that Matchroom card with Edgar Berlanga, how about this? Williams Volney, also top-rated middleweight, Austin Williams, 18-1, 12 knockouts with a 12-round unanimous decision over Patrice Volney. Williams was the busier fighter in this fight. The cards, judges, 119, 110, 116, 112, 115, 113. One judge had it. That's more like it. What are your thoughts on those scores? Again, I can't see 119, 110, 116, 112, 115, 113 was more like it. But it does show this, though, that Austin Williams is someone to contend with more as a top-rated middleweight based on his past performance this past weekend. Now, fresh off his WBA featherweight championship defense, Nick Ball Saturday in Liverpool, England, on the zone. 22-0, 13 knockouts, stopping TJ Doney in the 10th round with an onslaught of punches. From the 5th round on, he was in control. He and the Japan superstar Inoue, who's fighting on the 4th of May as part of Riyadh season weekend, Inoue is the Japanese superstar who's going to make his first debut in the United States after 4 years, his re-debut on May the 4th, Sunday the May 4th, top-ranked controlled fighter. He has put out this tweet. Him and Inoue went at it on X. He said the fists are enough to do the talking. That would be a good fight for that title. Nick Ball and Inoue. And they got it going on social media just a couple of days ago. But again, Inoue back in the United States May 4th in Las Vegas, part of ESPN Top Rank. Be good to see him back in the States. And a Nick Ball Inoue fight for that featherweight title. Wow. I look forward to that one, especially the great Inoue with the great punching and knockout ability. And Nick Ball, he can also knock you out. He's a hard puncher, if you saw it again this weekend. Now, let's get back to the Turkey, the ring, and, of course, their big fight show with Canelo Alvarez on May 3rd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where Canelo tries to get the IBF 168-pound title back from William Skull. The undercard is impressive in Riyadh, and it looks like this. A rematch of 168 for Jaime Munguia, who you remember went after Canelo Alvarez's titles last year, did not prevail. Rematch with Munguia and Bruno Solis. That was the upset of the year last year to many in the sport, and the knockout of the year in the 6th round of last year. They're going to have a rematch on that undercard to Canelo Alvarez. And you're going to have the heavyweight, Martin Bakole and Ife Ajaba. And Voodoo Jack, the former cruiserweight champ, against Ryan Brzezinski. 5 fights before Canelo Alvarez. Riyadh season, May 3rd, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. That's a great card by the Turkey in the ring. And a great undercard before Canelo Alvarez and William Skull coming up. So, Ryan Garcia, again, in Times Square. That's coming up also Friday night, May 3rd, Crossroads of the World, as you know. Garcia and, of course, Rolly Romero. Garcia's comeback. Now, interesting. I get on Ryan Garcia's case. I've done that for the last year since his suspension after his fight with Devin Haney just about a year ago on April 1st at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Thanks for all your comments. We'll try to get to all of them as soon as I can, and we'll put them up again. Appreciate your continued support. Ryan Garcia said this during the week, during a YouTube interview, that he was drinking and smoking as he prepared for Devin Haney last year, that he had this problem and an ongoing problem of drinking and even smoking weed. And we all know what happened. He was suspended because of illegal use of PEDs. Of course, that fight still in the history books as one of the catastrophes of boxing last year. He said the suspension that he's had in the last year, he has learned. He's a different person. And to tell you the truth, just by listening to Ryan Garcia and watching him at the press conference leading up to Romero fight coming up in a few weeks in New York at Times Square, you could tell he has a better mentality. So the suspension might have done him good to being away from the sport during the last year. He's showing some better aspects of himself. He's training every day, and he's preparing for this comeback, which could make him the superior fighter at 140 in that heavily contested junior welterweight division. But Ryan Garcia, good for him, admitting his faults, taking this year off because of a suspension. Ryan Garcia seems to be a different man, a different person, better mentality, more mature how he's conducting himself, and I credit him for that, as I thought maybe a year away from the ring would do him some good, suspension or not. What are your thoughts? Like, comment, and subscribe here to me, Rich Mancuso, on my YouTube channel, String Punk Entertainment. Like the Facebook page. Of course, 135-pound and 140-pound divisions are the spotlight, and still a lot of talk among the fighters involved in both divisions in the sport, including Gervonta Davis and the Lamont Roach rematch. That's going to be headed to Las Vegas for more reports, sometime in June or maybe as July. In the meantime, the WBA lightweight champ Davis is calling out Lomachenko as his next opponent. After the Lamont Roach rematch, assume that happens, he wants Lomachenko, who hasn't been in the ring in almost a year, took the time off, went back to Ukraine, injured, being with his family, whatever. Lomachenko, as of yet, hasn't responded. In fact, we all know Loma has been pretty quiet, hasn't talked much in months. And about Shakur Stevenson, another one of his adversaries that he'd like to get in the ring with. Shakur at least would like him. Shakur, the WBA lightweight champ. He's calling out, this is Shakur now, calling out Teofimo Lopez for a title chip at 140, not 135. Because Teofimo also in Times Square, Friday night, May 3rd, with Arnold Barboza Jr., defending his WBO 140-pound title as he continues his quest to take over another division. He did that at 135. But Shakur Davis, that's what boxing wants. That's the fight fans want to see. And, of course, unifying those titles at 135, not 140. So we'll see where this goes, because the major fighters at 135 and 140, two of the hotly contested divisions in the sport, are talking, at least on social media. And as you know, as I always say, when fighters talk on social media, the fights are being made. Not like the old days, we had to wait to read your daily newspaper in the old day and got the news. And how about Gervonta Davis and Teofimo? And there is Shakur again calling out Teofimo Lopez. And they've been going at it. That's very possible that these two could get it going, put together. This would not be Ring Magazine, Turk Eye, and Dana White in the new boxing league. This would be the sanctioning organizations, the promoters. Put this together, my friend. Put it together. That's a fight. Teofimo, many say, backs down from potential opponents. I don't agree with that totally. Shakur will fight just about anyone, whether it be 135 or 140. So we'll see where this develops. And how about this? You speak about Gervonta Davis and Teofimo Lopez. Did you catch this on social media just a couple of days ago? They were caught sparring together. Teofimo Lopez and Shakur and Gervonta Davis sparring. Scott, do we have that image? Because I found that to be pretty interesting. There you go. This was not an what do they call it? IG image or IA, one of those images that are put up and fake. This was real. Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Steve, and Gervonta Davis sparring just a couple of days ago. Location unknown. Could be a preview. Now, we're not at the fact of the week yet, Scott, but we're going to get there because we're going to look at our attention for fights this coming weekend.
I'm not sure how that happened. My bad.
That's all right, Scott. You're forgiven. You haven't been under the controls for me in a couple of weeks. You're forgiven, my friend. Scott Shurston. This weekend, Australia and Las Vegas will be the center of attention for fight fans. Amazon Prime for George Kambosos Jr., and of course, we're going to get the towering inferno, Sebastian Ventura. Of course, let's look at Kambosos Jr. at first. In Australia, he's coming home to fight to get back in the title mix at 140 and become a two-division champion. He once had those titles at 135. So we'll look at George Kambosos and Sebastian Ventura, the towering inferno. Of course, Ventura versus Shardell Booker. That's going to be on Amazon Prime from Las Vegas at the Michelob Ultra Arena. It's not Ventura defending, though, against Errol Spence Jr. that had always been talked about for the 154-pound titles, and that's one of the titles Ventura has. Ventura is the late replacement. He got a replacement. And remember him, he was the rate replacement that dethroned 145-pound champ at the time, Tszyu. Last March, the bloodbath that everyone still keeps talking about. He was supposed to have Keith Thurman, and he filled in and won the title over Tszyu. Tszyu didn't have his best night that night, and of course took the titles. Now, Vendora's interesting. We know he's lean. We know he has an advantage in that respect. He fought in that fight with Tszyu with a broken nose. Yeah, it was a bloodbath if you remember it. He's 21-1, 13 knockouts, the WBO champ in the division, and he also has the vacant WBC title as well. Booker, interesting, 23-1, 11 knockouts, 6 straight wins, 33-year-old from Stamford, Connecticut. The winner here supposedly is going to be entering a unification bout, possibly with Terrence Crawford. But of course, Terrence Crawford is not going to be defending anything at 154 because Bud Crawford has Canelo Alvarez at 168 coming up in September, a mega fight for the sport. But this is a division at 154 to unify to be difficult. Because in it, you have Virgil Ortiz coming off a win, Boracek, and a great Xander Zayas, the young superstar out of Puerto Rico, Miami, who keeps winning every fight and is vying for a title shot. And Top Rank and Bob Arum say he's going to get one, maybe sometime this year, if they feel he's deemed ready to do it. Good division, 154. Watch Sebastian Ventura, see how he reacts after his win and championship win over Tszyu last year. George Kambosos, on the other hand, 21-3, 10 knockouts, now at junior welterweight. Matchroom Boxing in Australia on the zone this weekend, and I think you got to get up pretty early to watch it at 4 a.m. He's 31 years old, now looking to get a title at 140. He has a replacement in Jake Wiley. David Jordan had to pull out because of medical reasons, they say. Wiley, the replacement, is gunned and ready for this. And if he does pull off this win, well, he gets the title shots. He's in the mix in the division, and not Kambosos. Wiley's 24 years old, an Australian also. So they will be excited there in Australia over the weekend. And for George Kambosos Jr., this is a fight he needs to win. He's admitted to that, and he's also said that he will be able to handle Wiley. But Wiley, the late replacement here, he's going to be ready, and he has the opportunity of his lifetime. Because if he defeats George Kambosos Jr., all of a sudden we're mentioning his name and not Kambosos as a player in that 140-pound title mix. So 2 good fights coming up this weekend. Boxing will be busy. It'll be recapped with you next week. How about Dana White at ringside Sunday for TKO, UFC, and the latest 360 promotions and Tom Lawford at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Here he's congratulating his prospect, Callum Smith, super welterweight, split and he won this fight commandingly. First round knockout over Dean Sutherland. Walsh improves to 13-0, 11 knockouts. Here's a young man who's going to be a champion soon. He's got tremendous power. He gets better and better every fight. That at the Theater Madison Square Garden this weekend, that sold out on St. Patrick's weekend. And you talk about Dana White, and he's been vocal about ESPN and their deal, and it's about technical issues. ESPN Plus on their pay-per-views and so forth with Dana White, UFC. There have been a lot of technical issues. He says ESPN has failed to uphold their end of their 5-year broadcasting rights bargain, their deal, and now Dana White is looking to move on. ESPN, by the way, is looking to get out of combat sports completely. Top Rank and their deal with ESPN is going to come to an end soon, and Top Rank is shopping around to see who will pick up their TV right, streaming or whatever. Dana White now looking to get away from ESPN, and it doesn't look like ESPN wants the UFC back anyway. Their pay-per-views do draw. Their ratings on the Plus, and you really can't tell because it's streaming. But Dana White's talking possibly Netflix for MMA UFC, with ESPN out of boxing and Top Rank now also. It's almost a reality that Dana White's going to take the UFC off ESPN, and Netflix getting more involved with combat sports. Of course, they did Jake Paul, Mike Tyson at bars. They got WWE, TKO Endeavor with Dana White, and they might get even more involved, and that could be coming, my friends. All right, we'll keep it in the ring now before we go to our first break, and let me bring Scott Churston in. Haven't seen or heard from him in a while. He's here, and he's going to do the fact of the week with us this week. Scott, are you there, my friend? Scott?
There we go. How's about that? Sorry about that.
No, you already said that you sorry once already tonight. That's okay. You're forgiven.
As many times as I have to. I'm married.
Welcome back. Good to have you under the controls this week. You ready to do the fact of the week? Because I don't have a live guest.
Yeah, I know. You're putting all the pressure on me here, too.
No, try it. Here we go.
Sitting backstage wants to help me out, they're more than welcome.
It's not trivia. Yeah, comment, my friends. If you know the answer to the fact of the week, feel free to comment in the comment section. Let's see. All right, Scott, the phrase pound for pound in the sport. You always hear me talk about it. Everyone does. According to the Hall of Fame of the late, great Sugar Ray Robinson, he invented the phrase. Now, the fact here is, why did he invent the phrase? Pound for pound, best, or pound for pound fighter, best, where he was at one point, many times. Why did he invent that phrase, pound per pound? Do you know it? Does anyone know it? What is the fact here?
I mean, reality is it kind of comes down to more about the skill versus the actual weight. So you take someone of, say, George Foreman's size up against a flyweight. I mean, obviously Foreman's going to have the advantage strength-wise, but it's a pound-for-pound breakdown here. So you take a flyweight, you take a featherweight, you take somebody who's a little bit light. It comes down to a skill and technique aspect as opposed to just – it's a way, I think, in a lot of ways to be able to open up the debates a little more. As opposed to, okay, you have, I just mentioned Foreman, Ali, fine. But what if Foreman fought someone else? That whole, I mean, they had obviously what was referred to in the Rocky movies as the Mickey Mouse fight. But this kind of thing that opens up the debates on what could be. I mean, for decades, it's always been, could Tyson have beaten Marciano? Could Sugar Ray Leonard beat Floyd Patterson? There's 100 different options out there from a pound per pound argument. And
you're making good points, and you're almost there. Why Sugar Ray Robinson said the pound for pound, why he brought it up and why he wanted it done. He invented the phrase pound for pound, and he said it was done to start comparing boxers no matter their weight class. That's what he said. That's why he decided to say pound for pound best, and that's where it all comes from. the late great Hall of Famer champion, the great Sugar Ray Robinson. How about that, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks for getting a crack at it, Scott.
It wasn't that bad. I'll give
You were
myself
close. You were close. Back to the week.
but
Scott Churston, me, Rich Mancuso. Back in a moment after this brief timeout. And we're going to look at some MMA stuff. Conor McGregor in particular. The WWE and John Cena the heel. And the Rebel rant to come. Plus, some interesting comments from Randy Gordon, the former commissioner, New York State Athletic Commissioner. And he talks about Gervonta Davis and that awkward decision and that round where he took a knee and so forth. Tommy D got those comments from me. We'll get to that in a moment. This Keep in the Ring. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Rich Mancuso. The Facebook page, like that. We're also at String Punk Entertainment. Back in a moment. Keep it in the ring. Stay with us.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
All right, back with Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso, String Punk Entertainment, and like the Keep It in the Ring page on Facebook. Of course, my social media is scrolled always at the bottom of the screen, and the fight schedule coming up this week and the week after. A lot of boxing coming up in the next few weeks. We are still in boxing season. Well, take a little break. It won't be some major fights, but wait until we get to mid-April, beyond, and in May. That's going to blow your mind if you already know. Anyway, we continue. How about this? Did you see this? Conor McGregor, during St. Patrick's Day, decided to visit the White House and my friend Donald Trump, the president. St. Patrick's Day, that's what Conor McGregor's been doing. He's been politicking instead of getting in the octagon. No word on Conor McGregor and when he's returning to the octagon. No word at all. But he's out there politicking, and there he was at the White House at St. Patrick's Day with President Donald Trump. Thought I'd show you that. Interesting now, I want to get to this. We have some clips courtesy of Tommy D, who's not with us this week. Tommy has his own show platforms here on YouTube and Facebook. And be back with you next week, my friends. And condolences again to Tommy's family. Passing of a relative, and he's not with us tonight. But Tommy was able to get former New York State Athletic Commissioner Randy Gordon, talk to him on numerous subjects. He's going into the International Boxing Hall of Fame this June up in Canastota. Randy talked about a number of things here, including the new fight league with the Turk guy and Dana White, and then goes into the Gervonta Davis controversy of taking the knee on that fight that happened on March 1st at Barclays Center in Brooklyn against Lamont Roach. So Scott, roll those clips. Let's hear Randy Gordon.
Saw what he did. It was a knockdown. And you saw the corner wipe his face. According to the rules, I'm not making this up. The rules say that if the corner enters the ring, and they did enter the ring with their body, with their arm. Right. You don't have to step into the ring. Well, if they enter the ring, it's a DQ. Your fighter loses by DQ. He could have lost. See, that's a rule that I hate. I don't like that rule. And that if I could change that rule, I would. That was the next thing that I actually was going to be doing before I unceremoniously left in 1995. I worked for Governor Mario Cuomo. He got voted out. I got thrown out. That's how it works in politics. But the next thing I was going to do is get rid of that entering the ring. Because look, what if a trainer and a fighter have an argument? And you know that happens all the time. And the trainer decides, he says, you know what? I'm going to get this guy.
Right.
And at one point, he jumps up into the ring, causing that guy that he's angry at. I don't like the rule.
Well, that's one point, and good one by the former athletic commissioner of New York State, Randy Gordon, heading to the Hall of Fame in June up in Canastota. And I find that interesting, his comments about the DQ and going into the corner. And, you know, that was a 10-8 round. Everyone still agrees with that. Lamont Roach had a 10-8 round. And instead of a draw, he should have won the fight and been the new WBA lightweight champion. So I hope that clarified a bit. And that's coming from an expert who knows the rules, especially in New York State, because he was the athletic commissioner. Yeah, there have been some rule changes, but not that one. Now let's get more to Randy. Scott rolled out. I think here he's talking about the new fight league in Dana White. What do we got?
Do I believe he had something in his eyes from his hair? Yes, I believe that. But let's go back to 1964 and a heavyweight by the name of Cassius Marcellus Clay went into the 5th round against Charles Sonny Liston, blinded. And he went back to the corner, and Angelo Dundee did all he could to clear his eyes. And when round 6 started, he gave Clay this message: run. And Clay kept his left hand out in front of him, and he could tell when Sonny Liston was right there. And when he did, he ran some more, or he grabbed onto Liston. He got through that round, beat Liston up in the next round. Liston quit on his stool. But Clay never took a knee. You can't call timeout. And Steve Willis blew it. And as a matter of fact, Larry Hazard said to me last week, I was speaking to him about it. He said, I want you to quote me. In fact, I'm going to send you something that I want you to read on the air if you feel like it. And Larry Hazard's statement was, quote, Steve Willis has to come out and say that he made an honest mistake. When he does that, he will put everything right. But this was on Monday, right after the fight. Why it took the New York State Athletic Commission Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and finally, like on Friday, they made the announcement. It was crazy to wait that long. I would have had it that night. I didn't have to see the tape. I knew what I just saw. Yeah. I saw Gervonta Davis take a knee. It was a knockdown. I know what I saw.
Yeah, I think we all saw it was a knockdown. And we also, the referee, good point. Steve Willis has yet to make a statement and admitted his fault. Thank you. Tommy D, I gotta say, checking in with us. Sorry, couldn't be on. And he's on his way home from a funeral. And we know that, Tommy. Again, our condolences to you. Your time is with your family tonight, not keeping in the ring. Thank you, though, for checking in, my friend. He's such a great young man, great colleague. Anyway, back to Randy Gordon. Brings up valid points here. And, of course, the referee, Steve Willis, we haven't heard from him. I know this. When Randy Gordon was the chairman of the New York State Athletic Commission back then in the 90s, he was shaping up things with boxing in New York State. The rules were being abided by. He had managers, promoters right there with him. He made sure everybody was going by the book, the standards, safety protocols, and made sure that the referees and made sure the judges were going through seminars intensely to assure that nothing like this would happen. And if he had been the commissioner the night Davis fought Roach with this controversy that ended up in a draw because Gervonta Davis took a knee, Randy Gordon would have demanded that his referee, Wilkes, speak and give his comment. Of course, we know the result. The Athletic Commission didn't change the result. Would Randy Gordon have done that? Well, I don't know. The fact is that the referee, Steve Wilkes, botched this up completely. The fact is Gervonta Davis, once again, not to rehash this because we know, he took a knee. Or did he take a knee? The fact is Lamont Roach definitely had a 10-8 round here. The DQ is also coming into play. Randy Gordon hopefully verified, some of what went on. The point is, it leads to a rematch that's going to happen, and they're talking Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis, maybe June or sometime in July, this time being in Las Vegas with a totally different athletic commission. Las Vegas, the Nevada State Athletic Control Board, is just as strict as any of them in the United States. And he talked to Larry Hazard. Now, when you go back to Larry Hazard a moment, Larry Hazard was an esteemed referee for years out of New Jersey and is now the commissioner there. He's been there for over a decade, handling the regulations with the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board as their head. So when you put two great minds together like that, they could come to the consensus here that the referee here definitely screwed up. I still want to hear your thoughts on this, the Davis-Roach outcome and what resulted. Now, Scott, we don't have the spot with Randy talking about Dana White and the ring and the new fight league. Am I right? We don't have it? Scott? Okay, I guess we don't. There was a clip that Tommy D was able to get talking to Randy Gordon about the new fight league, and he referred to it. He doesn't see that being bad for the sport. It's just going to be a little different. He's not against it. You're hearing a lot of skeptics about it. For one, myself, I think it's good for the sport in one respect, that you're getting the fighters more action, though to have. And what I like about it, again, as I said it during the opening tonight, is the Ring Magazine belt will be a completely different entity, separate from the sanctioning organizations where you have confusion already, alphabet soup, as I always call it, and it's not going to interfere. This is going to be completely different, and according to them, a betterment to the sport. I'm all for that. I just hope it doesn't lead to more confusion. But thank you again, Tommy D, for getting that footage to us. I wanted Randy Gordon to be with us live, but when I'm on the air or during the week, he's not available because he does a serious radio boxing show, and a good one it is, with the great former heavyweight great Jerry Cooney. All right. Let's move into the pro wrestling orbit briefly before I bring in Robbie Rebel Ramp. John Cena, the heel, the first big promo with him on Monday Night Raw on Netflix from Belgium, and that was John Cena being the heel. I thought it went off real well, and there's more of this to come as he leads up to his match with Cody Rhodes before I think John Cena becomes good again. The Make-A-Wish Foundation, too important to him. This is a great build-up towards their WrestleMania match. I thought the right things were said by Cena. It all started on Raw Monday night. By the way, Monday Night Raw again this week, going to be coming at 4 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. Monday Night Raw, I think they're in Italy this week. I think SmackDown is tomorrow. Yeah, that was a great spot. Thanks, Tom, with Cena and Cody. John Cena showing his heel part. John Cena, first time a heel, and really, really good promo. Cody Rhodes let him have it. Cena stayed quiet. The fans in Belgium just booing him. In fact, that was an electric crowd. That's why WWE, not only do they venture with capital from this, but doing these international events and Monday Night Raw. So more to come on this. And Cena said he's not a baby face. He's a heel, not a baby face. He's a human. That's what he told the WWE Universe. That was an interesting comment. All right, SmackDown tomorrow night on USA Network. Rollins, Punk, and Reigns headed to a triple threat at WrestleMania. And this is going to be interesting with these three. And I'm anxious to see how more so Drew McIntyre handles this tomorrow night on SmackDown. Of course, WrestleMania has Charlotte and Tiffany or Stratton and Breaker against Penta, possibly going to be a WrestleMania match set up. Ray Fenix, his brother, on his way in WWE. He's there already. Rhea Ripley and Sky and Bianca Belair, they will have a triple threat type of match. That's another WrestleMania moment we're going to see probably on night 1 or maybe night 2. They haven't determined that. But the Hall of Fame will have new inductees as well, added to Lex Luger, Michelle McCool, and Triple H. Expect the natural disasters to be announced just in a matter of a couple of days as added to the inductees going into this year's WWE Hall of Fame. That great tag team, Typhoon and what was he called? Typhoon, and the other one was what, the Earthquake or whatever. All right. AEW. Well, coming off a Revolution, they've died down a bit, and I'm tired of seeing Copley and Moxley continue to go at it. And that's ended now. That happened on Dynamite last night. And then FTR getting involved, if you saw that, that was a brutal match. AEW doing brutal things. You saw the barbed wire going right into Moxley's back from Cope. Thank God it's over. Tired of seeing that. And I don't know where Cope is headed here now. We know Moxley's headed towards April 6th, AEW Dynasty, the next pay-per-view against Strickland. That we're going to see in Tony Storm and Megan Blaine. That's her next title defense for the AEW title. And yeah, Buddy says it's heartbreaking that Cena broke up with me. He broke up with a lot of fans, that's for sure. That's the ramification that takes place when you turn heel after being a great baby face all these years. Okay, so let's get to the sad part, sad news here, because over the last few days, the wrestling world mourns this independent wrestling star, Vince Steele, known as Jurassic Juggernaut, the 29-year-old in an independent show in Richfield Park, New Jersey, had a cardiac arrest in the ring. It was sad. Working for BCW, well-known independent star, well-liked by so many. I didn't know him. I've seen him perform. But many in the independent wrestling scene have really taken this loss bad. One who knew him really well is going to talk about him now is our good friend Robbie Rebel, the Rebel Rant. He's back with us this week. Robbie, before you go into your rant, what are your thoughts about the passing of Vince Steele, who you knew really well?
Well, the whole thing with Vince Steele and going into the rant's going to be a little different today. I'm normally insanely mad about a lot of things in the independent scene, but this one is, unfortunately, it was very highly preventable. And not only am I just upset because Vince Steele was very, very, I wasn't close with him personally, but he's always been a great guy to me in the locker room. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. But this something could have been insanely preventable. And going into the Rebel Rant, I kind of want to touch a little bit on it, but it's very disconcerting, and it breaks my heart, especially for his family, because he had kids as well.
Let me ask you, knew him, Robbie, before you do some of your ranting. Why are the boys, as they call them, the locker rooms on the independent scene that knew him and beyond, why was he so well liked?
It wasn't just everything he put out in the ring. It was the extracurricular with it. It was, if you needed to talk about something, he would talk about it with you. If you wanted to hit him up for an idea, he would help you out with ideas. Vince Steele was just an all-around good guy. And you don't see a lot of good guys in wrestling, especially in the independent scenes. Everyone's out there to stab you in the back. Everyone's out there to, make sure that there's a stepping stone. Vince Steele wasn't like that towards me, and I had never seen him actually act like that towards anyone else. I'm actually shaking with how mad I am about this whole thing.
And then they say there was a cardiac arrest. Was he ill at any point? Did you know? Or was he
wasn't close
He
enough.
had to be physically able to be in the ring. They wouldn't let him in if he had heart failure or anything like that.
Now that's what I was going to get into with the rant. So
All right, before you rant about that some more, one thing I got to show the fans about Robbie Rebel with the Rebel rant. You had a match this past weekend. Where was it? And we have an image of that.
I was actually at the Queensboro Elks Lodge in Elmhurst, New York. I had
Scott, put that image up. There we go. What was that?
Okay, so that's actually Tommy Invincible, but he was also part of the show. Great guy. He's been working very hard. So if he does see this, I hope he knows that I wish him well. So the place was called CCW, and we actually had a whole article written about us by Evan Ginsberg, who was the producer for the movie The Wrestler.
And you came out of this okay?
Oh, I came out of it with flying colors. Of course, Robbie Rebel won.
Without me being in there with you, and I'm going to do it soon.
You had every
I'm going to keep my promise. I'm going to do it. Next match, what do you got coming up before you start your rant?
I do have one more match coming up this Sunday at Mulcahy's in Wantagh. I'm supposedly versing Papa Don for NYWC, so I'm really excited for that. Greek God Papa Don. And then I also am defending my title belt on Long Island in Port Jeff on 4/26, right in Port Jeff.
We'll talk more about that off the air. And with the passing of Vince Steele, I know this is going to be a different Rebel rant. It's all yours. Go ahead, Robbie Rebel.
I appreciate that, Rich. And thank you, everybody, for listening. This is the part of the program where we pontificate the perplexing things about professional wrestling. I can't even get my trademark out today because I'm so angry about this whole situation. Now, going into the Rebel rant, we're going to talk about safety before you even get into the ring. And yes, we were talking about he possibly had something before getting into the ring. I don't know personally. I was not there personally. But from what I hear is that a lot of people there's things that could be prevented in wrestling. And one would have definitely been cardiac arrest. When it comes to places like New Jersey or other places that do not have a professional sports thing going on, like a what's the word I'm looking for? There's things in place to make sure that we're all okay. We all in New York have to see a doctor. We're all in New York. We have to get our blood pressure taken. We had to make sure that everything is okay before we go in. If there's anything wrong, New York gets a lot of crap for this, but there has to be doctors and an ambulance on site. Something like this, something as easy as just something as one of those electric shock things that could bring you back to life. If even there was something like that, this could have been a preventable problem. I know in New Jersey, there's no state athletic commission. That's what I was trying to get out before. But a state athletic commission is so much more important than you actually believe. They're not there just to steal your money as a promoter. When it comes down to something like a state athletic commission, there's guidelines. There's things that could be prevented, especially, let's say, if he had a very, very high blood pressure that day or his BPM was insanely high. Those are things that you should be looking for before someone actually does. I don't care if anyone calls this stuff fake. You get slammed on your back and your heart skips a beat. This is the type of stuff that could happen. And I'm not using this to stay on my high horse, just because there's something that happened to another wrestler. This is a tragedy and a very preventable tragedy. If we just had someone, even if you don't have a state athletic commission, even if we had someone just taking blood pressure, this would have been a preventable accident. And it's very sad because now someone who had 3 kids, a wife, and a whole family, you will never see them again. There's people that have been on my Facebook that are saying, I can't believe that the last thing I talked about was just some BS talking about a match with you. And now I'll never be able to talk to you again. I've seen a lot of New Jersey guys. They said that they're going to start doing that no matter what. And I think that's a step in the right direction. But unfortunately, we've been so long without this. You're still going to have your outlaw mud shows going to still do whatever the hell they want. You're going to see stuff like nails in your back, like I just saw in AEW, which was ridiculous to begin with. But that's a whole nother rant. And again, going back to this could have been a preventable thing. If you guys take care of your bodies and if you make sure that you take the precautions, because this is something that is going to continue to happen, especially with bigger men, if you're not taking care of yourself or your talent. This is someone's getting sued. Someone needs insurance. This is ridiculous. And unfortunately,
it is. It's sad. Robbie, before I let you go, and I got to ask you, and well said, my friend, the thing is, yourself personally, before you get in the ring, I'm sure you get checked with a physical from a personal doctor, but how many times in your experiences have you not been checked prior to getting in there and performing at an event? Does that ever happen?
Yeah. It's very, very prominent going back to New Jersey. It's insanely prominent. There's no state athletic commission.
Is that because of what they call deregulation? Because they've done that in New York State. They've done it in Jersey as well.
Every time I wrestle in New York State, there's always a doctor present. There's always an ambulance present. There's always a medical staff present.
All right, so there's got to be, after this, maybe a lesson has been learned. Tragically, it's been learned, so something like this doesn't occur again, because this young man had a lot to offer and did offer a lot more. He did, and was well liked and performed like some of the best. It's a sad story, and it can't happen again.
No, and I'll actually throw out something to someone that I don't throw out a lot to anymore because I think he's well past his prime. But Chris Jericho actually did donate to his family, so I don't know. I don't know if Chris Jericho watches us or anything, but that was very, very, very.
Yeah, I heard that. And there is a GoFundMe page as well, I believe, and Jericho is a part of that as well. Robbie, sorry for your loss and all the independent wrestlers and promoters that knew this young man real well. Thanks for taking the time with the Rebel Rant. We'll talk to you more next week. Okay, my friend?
Sounds good. You have a good one, Rich, and thank you all for watching.
Keep it in the ring, my friend. Thank you. That's the Rebel Rant, Robbie Rebel. One brief, quick timeout. Back. We'll go to nostalgia, a couple of notes here and there, and wrap it all up. Keep it in the ring, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe my channel on YouTube. It's String Punk Entertainment. Like the Facebook page as well. Back after this brief timeout.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
No, I had a technical issue, but I'm back. I think Scott caught it, but I'm back. I worked on it real quick myself. I'm getting smart with technology in my old age here. Nostalgia time at Keep It in the Ring, March 26, 1958. Sugar Ray Robinson, we talked about him earlier, defeated Carmen Bastillo, split decision, reclaiming the world middleweight title championship at Chicago Stadium. Bastillo lost the title from Robinson in 1957. God, the year I was born. A 15-round rematch, then also known as the Fight of the Year. The fourth of 5 consecutive years that Bastillo competed in Fight of the Year. That the nostalgia, March 26, 1958, the great Hall of Famer, the late Sugar Ray Robinson defeating Carmine Bastillo. And I think we saw the fight poster on that too as well. Scott, did you put the fight poster up for that fight? Because that's how they did it in the old days. And they would put them on doors in the arenas, in the neighborhoods. Where was this? In Chicago at the Chicago Stadium. That's our nostalgia fact this week. Some notes to conclude the program, and we take we want to wish this Hall of Famer real well, who I go back with for many years, a great Golden Glove champ and world champion at middleweight and so forth. I ran the Blade Barkley out of the Bronx, New York, sustained a stroke. Not a very mild, it wasn't mild. So the former champ, I ran the Blade Barkley, is hopefully recovering well in the New York City area. This was a battler. I'm sure Iran Barkley will battle back from this as well. He's known still. He's been out. He's always out there in the community. He's always out there at boxing events, meet and greets and so forth. But this one is hard to take. We hope he pulls out. Haven't got an update latest on his health, but he sustained a stroke during the past weekend. We wish the Blade real well. We're praying and pulling for you, champ. All the best. Also, a note about this, it came up in boxing. Emmanuel Navarrete defends his WBO junior lightweight title versus Charlie Suarez May 10th, San Diego, California, that being ESPN Top Rank. And this note about Olympic boxing that's been under scrutiny and controversy during the last year. Boxing will be a competitive event in the Olympics 2028. That in Los Angeles, at the controversy with the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, after the International Boxing Association governing and finance issues. You know, Olympic boxing has not been the same. We haven't had a real champion or gold medal winners since the 1984 team that I was a part of. This was more of the reason why. Always in controversy, always a problem, and the governing bodies here, finances, of course, money gets involved in amateur athletics. That just makes it even worse. So, but at least we know this. Boxing's saved. There will be competition at the LA Games in 2028. So that was good to hear. There's the hour. Keep it in the ring this week. My thanks for Scott Church and handling and controls. Thanks to Tommy D for pitching in with the Randy Gordon interview. Robbie Rebel, thanks again for the Rebel Rant. More next week on Keep It in the Ring. However, there is going to be a difference. Yes, same time, live 8 p.m. Eastern. I won't be here. It's opening day in baseball at Yankee Stadium. I have to be there. And because the Yankee game is at 3 p.m. Eastern, I can't go live. I'll be detained with my assignment. Baseball season's here. Tommy D will reign the controls to you next week here live at Keep It in the Ring, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune in. My great colleague does a great job sitting in for me. Watch him. Support him. And support Keep It in the Ring. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, YouTube, Rich Mancuso. Also, String Punk Entertainment and the Facebook page like that. Keep It in the Ring. As I tell you every week, fans, this hour went fast. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Always take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and God bless. Thank you for watching. I'm Rich Mancuso, and as always, keep it in the ring.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
That's a wrap.